there are many scores. I'm not going to go down and do a litany right now, but there are many scores of yours that, in terms of serving the picture and evidencing that command of technique and of the language and so forth, are every bit as good as John Williams' music. You know, the big difference with somebody like Williams is he's got Spielberg,
Right.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And we do try to encourage these guys, as much as they need to work constantly on their technique, also to work on finding collaborators.
Of course, that's the mystery, the surrounding becoming successful. I get asked this over and over again. What's the key to succeeding as a film composer? And I will say, I'm kind of baffled in that I have had the great opportunity to meet so many incredibly talented young composers who, if we were to uh, focus on their talent exclusively, they should be working with Steven Spielberg. They're so gifted. But there's this other side, which has absolutely nothing to do with writing music, which is the show business part
Right.
of it.
Right.
you know. And it took me a long time to get into that groove. If you're coming into LA for the first time, well, it's show business, but something inside your wants to believe that all you do is write great music, it's all going to work out.
Right.
But that's not the truth. You have to be pretty damn good at selling yourself, or at least if you're afraid of picking up the phone, if you can get someone who will pick up the phone and get you in the room, you're going to have to learn how to sell yourself in that situation.
Well, these guys probably look at you now and say, this is a guy who's sort of master of the game. He's got that stuff down. He understands how to enter a room, how to talk to people, how to make a director feel comfortable with, his ability to serve the film, etc. But did you always have that, or was that something?
Absolutely, positively not. You know, my strength was, everyone said, well, the wonderful thing about Chris is that he's got the talent. He doesn't think he has the talent. So for sure, don't pay any attention to him if you ask him how's the score going and he says, yeah, it's pretty good, because when you get on the stage, you're going to love it.
Right.
No, so I had to learn, you can't do this, Chris. I remember an agent, putting me up against the wall, in a matter of speaking, and saying, you can't do this. You have to learn how to make everyone feel confident that you're going to deliver what you need to deliver. And I had to work on that. And I remember it was a film in particular that my chances of getting were so slim that the only reason why I got it was because I went all out and tried to convince them by getting on my hands and knees. This was for the film The Hurricane.
Right.
And in that instance, I got him, it was Norman Jewison was the director. At the end of I knew my time was running. I know I was in competition with superstars. I got on my hands and knees and said, Norman, you don't know me from anyone, from a hole in the wall, but I know, the other guys you've interviewed will give you a good score, but I want this so badly, and I know I can do this. I can give you 120% more, because I want this, I need this so badly. And I will kid it, I love this movie, and I'm so right for it. And he laughed and said, stand up, and no problem. And then I found out 20 minutes later I got the gig. So yeah, the selling stuff is pertinent. So I learned that, and one of the things, I used to dress like a kid that just got out of school, which I basically had, UCLA. And Larry Marks, the great agent who is no longer with us, who had a boutique agency, he only took on 4 or 5 people.
Alan Silvestri, David Newman, right?
Robert Folk and me, basically, and Bill Ross.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he said to me, Chris, I'll take you on under one condition. I said, what's that? you got to change your clothes, man. And so he said, you got to go out and get some new clothes right now. I'm not going to take you on. So I remember going out with, not with him, but I got some guy. I bought, our next door neighbor was in the clothes designing. And he said, I know what I can get you to make you look cool. And so he dressed me in stuff that I'd never liked, but it was different. And it made me look more Hollywood or whatever. And then I finally got into my own scene,
Yeah.
which is what I do now, you know, which is kind of kooky, you know, over the top stuff.
Yeah, but it suits you. I mean,
Yeah,
that's the
I
thing.
guess that's me, and
You found your groove.
it rhymes with who I really am.
But it is, in the good sense, a kind of a confidence game. Not in the sense of trying to convince people that you have something you don't, but in the sense of trying to convince people that they can turn over something precious to you.
Oh
They can
yeah,
put it into your hands and you're not going to
yeah,
screw it up.
yeah, yeah. There was a film I did in which I replaced some John Barry music, and one of the producers was very, very nervous about the picture, about the fact that they were making some changes not only to the music, but other aspects of the film. And he just was he was like me, nervous guy, walking around. He'd come into the office, he'd be pacing around, chain smoking, and he drank coffee, and I realized that the best thing I can do right now, even though I was insecure about what I was going to be right, I'm replacing John Barry, come on now, was to make sure he knew he didn't have to worry about the music. Worry about other, I wish I could control other things that you're worrying about. I can't do that. Don't worry about the music. His name was Paul, and I remember saying, Paul, I promise you the music's going to work out just fine. Please don't worry about it anymore. I think you're really going to like, I know exactly what's needed. I'll fix these problems. And he said, really? You really think you can do that? I said, yeah, I can do it, Paul. Please don't worry about it. He said, yeah? I said, yeah. Phew.
It's amazing
He loved
how
this. He loved what I did
it's
because I
amazing
taught them into
how
it.
far a promise like that will go. I mean, your heart may be beating at 130 BPM as you make that promise because you don't know yet how you're
Yeah,
going to keep
no,
it,
no, no.
but you have to make it, and that means something to people.
It means something to people, and actually, because I said that to them, he liked me. He wanted to like the music. He did like the music, even though I didn't think it was that great. But I never let on to that. He thought
Right.
it was just what the film needed. And you know, I felt bad about having to replace John Barry, but it just wasn't going to work.